Young man, you too can become a hero.
当たり前だろう友達の国だ
You're in luck! I, regular
こんな
attackers
懐か
大丈夫でしょ。
そうか。
日の神神楽
This is exhilarating. Get excited.
Welcome back, everyone, to another week of Shonen Junk. We are back. My name is Ben, and I'm with my co-host.
Woo!
Welcome
Edgar.
back.
That, woo
back.
is not my name.
So, Edgar, over the past couple of years, Hollywood, in an attempt to draw in fans, have become obsessed with live-action animes. However, many of them have fallen short. Projects such as Death Note, Mob Psycho, and Cowboy Bebop have not been received well by audiences and critics alike. Cowboy Bebop was canceled the second week of viewing after losing about 90 to 70% of their audience viewings.
Yikes.
And with One Piece, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and Yu Yu Hakusho live actions coming to Netflix, anime fans are sweating a little bit. We're getting a little bit concerned.
And that's putting it mildly.
Yeah. However, we are here, Netflix, to fix your problems. This week, Edgar and I will be helping to give you ideas on how to do live actions.
No
based on
need to
some
pay
popu-
us.
Yeah, no need to. Well, if you send us
I
a
mean,
check,
if you give us money, we'll take credit for it.
Yeah,
We'll be nice.
Copyright.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're going to give you some live action ideas based on some popular animes that have, or some, fix some things that you've done in the past.
It was time to wake up.
Wow, those are some real pretty words there, cowboy.
I feel, Edgar, that a lot of these projects fall flat in their face in the creation process at the beginning.
Writing is a big...
Yeah, that's a big part.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of the people who are being put on these projects want to write their own projects, but they're forced to write this anime, so they put their own themes
Yeah.
and ideas in it that just don't really work with the world, and then they fall flat on their face in production. So this is not, of course, hating on any of the actors, any of the directors, and all that stuff. We're just trying to figure out some ways to make a good live-action anime adaptation, because I have never seen one done well. Have you seen one, Edgar?
Edge of Tomorrow is the only one
only
that
one,
I can think
yeah.
of, and that movie's great.
Yeah.
I
I have said this before. The first movie I ever disliked, when you're a kid and you see movies and you're like, hey, I love movies. Like, all this is great. The
Yeah.
first movie I ever disliked was Dragon Ball Evolution, and I saw it in theaters, and I was like, wow, this is awful.
You saw it in
And,
theaters?
Yeah, I did. In like 2008.
You paid
was
money?
it? Yeah, I paid money to see
I
that.
knew I knew what losing money felt like for the first
Yeah,
time.
I did. I didn't even pay for it.
Is this loss?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Edgar. So I have 3 animes that we're going to talk about. 3 very popular animes that
Yep.
have come out recently. We're going to try to figure out some ways to just help these companies to make these live actions, because we know their grubby hands are going to get on them eventually.
Yeah.
The first one, we're going to start out easy. Dr. Stone.
Yeah.
Do you think this is possible, Edgar?
It's super easy. The
Yeah.
big problem with adapting animes into live action is that they're kind of too kind of not bizarre, but they belong in the animation realm simply
Yeah.
because the concepts seem way too obscure for you to execute in live action, for you to not take seriously, or they require just a budget ridiculously high.
Yeah.
But Dr. Stone's actually I've seen a few shows that try to tackle concepts like this. It's like post-apocalyptic, so like all survival teenager. It's like a dystopian. It's a bandwagon that they jumped on and that kind of died out easily. But
Yeah.
it could be brought back again pretty well. All you need is a bunch of teenagers and in a jungle, basically.
Yeah, basically.
And that's all you need.
Basically, yeah. Do you think would they emulate? How would they do this? Would they emulate? Obviously, so there are ways that you can do specific live actions with the names. Maybe you could do side story, but we're thinking they could probably do the main story of the manga and the anime with this, right?
Pretty well.
Yeah.
And
The only issue I'm thinking about is Senku's hair.
the hair,
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to see what I'm saying. When it comes to adapting, you don't always have to see what there's a Americans, Hollywood. What they do with their live actions is that they Americanize it, and they just all they do is they put it in an American setting, and then everyone has a white name. And everyone's white, and that's pretty much all they do to it, and it kind of really it muddles it down way too much to where you don't even recognize it. And then the opposite spectrum, Japanese, they do full. They're gonna commit to everything. Everyone's gonna look the exact same. So you're gonna put wigs on everybody so they can have the same colored hair, and you're gonna give people muscle pads so they can keep the same muscles that they have. So it's kind of like too much.
But it's absurd.
So you need to find a good middle. Cowboy Bebop's an exception where they went way too much on the direction.
Yeah. Well, Cowboy Bebop was interesting because I don't have an issue with the casting, and they casted the races fairly, like they're in Cowboy Bebop, they're cartoon characters. The only one who really only has a race is Faye, because she's from, I think she's from Honduras or something. In America. But yeah, and I think it was just like, I think they got like Spike's age wrong, because he's supposed to be like 25, 24, and
I feel bad for John Cho. He was really passionate about this, and he's such a good. So what you can do with Dr. Stone is that you have the hook, and you have the concepts, and you have all the plot and conflicts already handled. What the best things to do when adapting this is diving into what the manga couldn't, is giving time to the characters that we weren't able to spend that much time on, which I think is a great thing that they can do, like with Taiju and Yuzuriha, which they were kind of shoved off to the side, to where I wish we could see their like relationship and Senku, like the trio, interact with each other more.
I also think what a lot of these live actions get wrong is they make a new script. No, why don't you just take the script, and just
add more to
and
it.
Just revise and add more to it. I think
keep the same, add like the fighting and the conflict and the way to getting it. Like even when they explain the science and you see them making all this stuff, it is believable and it is cool. But like I want to see what it looks like in real life. So that is something that you can kind of work with and actually build the stuff like as they're making it, and see them make the katanas. It's like those Indian YouTube guys like making like the fortresses and all that. It's just fun to watch. So like it's such a
there's a lot of time lapses in Dr. Stone that you could have a lot of fun with here.
And for people who've seen the anime, he's like, hey, I wonder how a car in the primal age, or how do you say it, in the Stone Age would actually look like in real life. So looking like one of those cars and tanks like put in real life would actually be really fun to do.
No, that would be great. And I think a lot of giving actual like live action visual representation would be good for science, like as a whole.
The budget doesn't need to be that high. Like I said, just stick them in a forest and jungle.
Just stick them in forest and a jungle. Exactly. You might need to build a set for the village, but other than that, like it's like the cost of it isn't that high. I think that the big issue, which a lot of live actions have, is a lot of comedies from anime comes from what I like to call the slingshot effect, which is where it goes from absolutely beautiful top tier animation to funny, just like hand-drawn stupid animation. And that's where a lot of comedy comes from. You think about big things like One Punch and Mob Psycho are really the masters of this, but Dr. Stone has a lot too, especially if you read the manga, because Boichi is a beautiful, beautiful artist, and he has done really, really well. So it's just trying to find a different way to take that humor into our real world.
Yeah. I want to this isn't a manga or an anime, but I feel like the best example that makes me believe in live action adaptations is Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Yeah. I like puts comics and graphic novel fights into live action super well. So, and they handle the comedy very well in a very comical way in real life. And I feel like not exactly the same like Japanese, like the I know what you're talking about, like it's like wacky, like all of a sudden eyes are big, you know what I mean?
I agree with you.
But it can be done if you really try. Just try. All of these can be fixed if they just tried.
Well, I think jumping onto that, I think it's just too much, because Scott Pilgrim takes place in our world, where a lot of these mangas take place in another world, so they have to take that wacky element and place it in, so it's just better in manga and anime, unless a huge studio like Marvel is gonna take control of it, which there's no studio that's gonna take an anime and do it.
What makes this easier that it is on Earth, and they do make pop culture references in this story. So it's like so easy to do, and they don't and the dialogue doesn't have to be that far off. It's a lot of these just require good writing, and the concept isn't that bizarre. Like I said, it just involves humans and them making stuff.
Which is a
You could do it, Netflix. I mean, don't do it, but if you had to,
if
listen
you had
to us.
listen to us.
Yeah.
Well, what we're doing here is like I don't think any live actions are ever necessary because I think anime and manga is in its own form a beautiful piece of art and it should stay that way. And we should differentiate these two. But why we're doing this is because Netflix or somebody else is gonna get their grubby hands on it. And so we're like, at least
Also,
be good.
Don't
you know?
age them up. I mean, it's gonna be hard to find a 16-year-old
hard.
swole dude like with long hair, but you can do it. Just like don't aging them up is always the worst idea.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Edgar. This one's a little bit harder. Haikyuu. Is this possible?
Well, one thing that America is known for is sports movies.
Yeah.
And sports TV shows. Friday Night Lights, I know is a popular TV show, but I've never seen it. And I think that's in a high school. I have no idea.
However,
the wrong direction. The easy way that they can take this is get yourself involved in too much of in the high school drama, which should not be. We've had way too many of them.
This Haikyuu could be if somebody ever announced a Haikyuu live action, it would be a big stinker. Like I'm not like there's just so many ways that they could do this wrong.
This is actually a really, and it's not your fault, but this is actually a really hard one to do because because in
this is
real
why
life,
I chose it.
in real life, volleyball moves way faster.
Yeah.
So, a lot of people, for people who make dumb complaints with Haikyuu, is like, there's no way they're thinking about it. There's this much time. You're right, it isn't, but they're thinking about it really quick.
Yeah. Have you played sports? Because yes, eventually
your thought process does go through along with it, but it is
does,
much faster than the anime actually.
Yeah. All of your training, all of the stuff, it just kind of clicks. And there are those moments where it feels like time slows down. Like I was a striker for a very long time when I played soccer, and a lot of times when I was left alone on a 1v1 against the goalkeeper, there are so many things rushing through your head, you know.
And time slows down.
Yeah, and time slows down.
Yeah.
Because it's just a crazy effect, and I think your mind is playing tricks on you.
Yeah.
So I think it does do well, but like you would have to spend so much money on camera equipment, on
camera movement would be an
cinematography.
essential thing.
Yes, yeah. You would have to have like a camera, maybe even like attached to the ball.
You need a cast that works so well together.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
like it's already written in the story that how these characters interact, like
how quippy they
Karasuno.
are. Yeah,
and you need also the opposing teams to stand out really well, because that's what makes the story so great, is that everyone's so likable.
Yeah.
There are no real enemies. Even the bad guys are likable.
Yeah.
And I say bad guys lightly.
The antagonists.
The antagonists. Because they're just so likable. So you need to cast them really well.
Yeah.
And not age them up is another issue that they keep having.
Well, that and also what we see with a lot of volleyball animes that have come out after Haikyuu. Like there's two others and they're both stinky.
And
but the characters are so bland, you know? And that's I feel like a danger you could have with live action, is that the humans are just so bland and you know, they don't have the color of Haikyuu, you know?
Another thing of whether they should contemplate depends on who adapts this. Hollywood or Japan. If Hollywood does it, I don't think this could work well in America, because in reality, in high school in America, people don't care about clubs here.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people who do care, but not even enough, and barely in the sports, unless it's maybe football.
Yeah, there's like that's interesting that you bring that up. Like until the MCU rolled around, or unless they're superheroes, we don't really get stories about high schoolers. You know, and if it is,
it's only drama. It's all
aged up high schoolers who are actually 27, 28.
and they revolve around the things that don't involve school. It's just all relationships and teen drama.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly.
So we don't deal with the stuff in school, like with actual classes and clubs.
And you brought up sports movies before. I feel like that's the same thing. I feel like it's never about the sport. It's always about what's going on.
At least the majority of the time, it isn't.
Like what's the movie with Sandra Bullock? Blindside?
Blindside, yeah.
Like that's all about what's going on outside. Like it's not a lot about what's going
It's
in
not
the
brown side, it's like the outside.
Yeah,
like.
exactly.
But yeah, what you could so that's what I'm saying. Like, if you cast this like in America, you have to write a fictional world where apparently people do care about sports,
Yeah.
and where this stuff actually matters. But even in haiku, it's like, why care about volleyball? You're not gonna get to do
Yeah.
it outside. But even then, clubs is
Yeah.
important over there in Japan when it isn't here.
Yeah, I don't think this one's possible. I don't think they could make it into a series, but could they maybe take the name and do a movie with maybe like a young Alba Josai, like a young Oikawa or something like that? Like they could
Like a
they
spin-off?
could, like a maybe spin-off thing, and
Live
and,
action?
Yeah,
I could see that.
or
yeah.
maybe another school or something.
Yeah, you can, or you can just. I mean,
Because here like when we think about live action, we think about the anime characters. God, how are they going to make that anime character into a human? But
Yeah.
what if there are no anime characters to turn into a human, and it's just original characters that they make,
yeah, you could do this. Like I said, also add, like, just like spend more time. It's like, and you might say like, that's adding more stuff into it is like the same thing as adding filler and padding, but I don't think so, especially with stuff like this, because what makes this show and series so likable is like them just doing stuff, them just like having fun.
Have you watched the OVA with Nekoma? How they got the finals?
their game?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was great.
I like it a
I
lot.
watched that recently. It was brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so great. And you finished the manga, so I haven't. I've only
Yeah, and
caught
I
up
read
to
the extra chapter, which is great.
Yeah. But yeah, in a sense, it can't be done more than others.
Yeah.
But if you had to do it, a spin-off, something else.
I think they could do a movie like because like you said, a lot of times like the game is very fast paced in American movies.
Yeah.
But I think it would be interesting to see like a sports movie slowed down and we actually focus on the game and not what's going on around.
It'd be a challenge to do that. But
yeah.
If you had, whether Japan picks it up or Hollywood, just take our notes. Work on what's already there and just get it shot well, casted well. Just try.
Just try.
That's the main focus on this entire video.
That's so like now that you say that, like sports, they never are about the sports. There's always some drama going around it, which is so crazy. That's great. That's great. All right, Edgar. I got a little request from Edgar pre-vid about he wanted to talk about
the famous failure 2017 Death Note movie.
So there are some live adaptations that Netflix have done that actually could be done in live action. Like I think Cowboy Bebop could have actually been done. But they hit the mark so far. Wasn't Willem Dafoe in this movie?
Yes.
I didn't watch it.
Oh,
so
he was that is such a good casting miss. Well, not miss, but like they casted him so well, and it was a perfect role for him. But like the writing was like absolutely
abysmal.
awful. Yeah. So what they lean into this in the manga and in the anime, the death, a big gripe for me in the movie is that the death is usually just due to heart attacks. That's the automatic death that happens when you write someone's name in the death note. They died due to a heart attack. But in the movie, they just go Final Destination with it, where you see like way too much gore and blood and guts, and they really, and not that it's a big issue, but they just whitewash all the characters. The main character's name is like Yagami, and in the movie, it's God, what is it's light something, but it's like it's white. I don't.
But does Death Note take place in Japan?
Yes, it does.
Okay, then no.
Yeah,
that's not okay.
No.
Yeah.
But what it's also, but what if Japan's good? If Japan, I would assume, was the best option. The Japanese to do it, a live action adaptation, what they can do is just like. And I think they did. Also, I think the Japanese also adapted
Probably stinky.
It looks silly. Ryuk in live action looks silly. It actually looks really scary, but in the wrong way. But like crime thrillers and suspense stuff like this could be done really well. I've seen kind of the Batman recently did it, but this one's like more of a mind game than it is thriller and murder and like horror. But it could just be done well because again, it's not bizarre. There's no crazy haircuts and there's no like weird things going on other than the Shinigami, which is like the gods of death that you see in the story. But all you need is good writing to keep suspense flowing. And the
Yeah.
mind games are like as fun as it is already. And a lot of people kind of don't like the way that the manga ended up. So if you can maybe please them by like writing some stuff to where you can fix it to keep some characters around longer, you could easily please them and keep the manga readers who were satisfied with it also satisfied. So you can easily fix two wrongs with one right.
Yeah.
Pleasing the actual story, which is canon, and you can fix the adaptations which failed miserably.
So what you're saying is it is 100% possible to do a Death Note live action.
You could do it. It could easily be done.
Because it's not traditional anime where there's like beam struggles or there's battles and all that stuff. It's just it's about a
mind game.
kid and his notebook, you know?
That's mildly putting it, but yeah, and they just changed, and even the live action, they just go off script and they change the motivation of the characters horribly. So this could be done again, like we said. Don't do it if you don't want to.
Yeah.
If you don't have to, no one's holding a gun to
Yeah.
your head. But if you had to, you could do this again
Yeah.
and do it right. But yeah,
All right,
yikes.
Edgar.
But keep Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
But,
Keep
like
Willem
I said,
Dafoe.
Keep him. He's
Okay,
great.
Edgar. So next time we talk about this same subject, which will be in a couple of weeks because we like our Shonen Junk to spread out, we're going to talk about 3 others, but they're going to be the upcoming ones: Yu Yu Hakusho, Avatar: The Last Airbender, and One Piece. And you're reading One Piece right now, Edgar.
Yeah.
Plug.
Plug.
All of this
Watch our
stuff.
videos.
Watch our videos.
Buy
The
our
manga
merch.
Yeah, buy our merch. We don't have merch.
Buy our energy drinks.
Subscribe and we might eventually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because running on
who
for too
cares?
long. But plug. Make sure you guys hit subscribe if you want to see Edgar's Peace Journey, One Piece Journey. Oh my god, this outro is
Our
failing.
pieces of Skittle journey.
Pieces of skill journey. Follow us on Instagram for shorts. Follow us on Spotify, Anchor, anywhere you look at podcasts, you will find the Manga Monday show, and we are here to stay for your enjoyment. So thank you guys so much who have subscribed, and thank you so much who are going to subscribe. We'll see you guys next week on Shonen Junk.
See ya.